How do you differentiate legitimate acts of war from war crimes? Imagine a battlefield where soldiers follow clear rules, aiming to protect civilians and limit suffering. How do we tell if their actions are lawful or criminal? That's what we're exploring today. When conflicts break out, armies are expected to act within the rules of international humanitarian law, especially the Geneva Conventions and the laws of armed conflict. These laws set out what is allowed and what is not during war. Legitimate acts of war are actions that follow these rules. They target only enemy combatants and military objectives. For example, attacking a military base is lawful if it's done carefully and with respect for civilians. But if soldiers attack a hospital or a school, that's a war crime because those places are protected. The core principles help us decide what is acceptable. The first is distinction. Parties to a conflict must always tell apart combatants from civilians. Attacking civilians or their homes is illegal. The second principle is proportionality. Even if a target is valid, the harm to civilians must not be excessive compared to the military gain. For instance, if an attack on a military vehicle causes widespread civilian casualties, it might be a war crime. The third principle is necessity. Military actions should be necessary to reach a legitimate goal. Destroying a building without military reason crosses the line into war crime territory. Certain acts are always considered war crimes, no matter what. Willful killing, torture, taking hostages, and attacking civilians or protected places like hospitals are examples. International laws, including the Geneva Conventions and the Rome Statute of the International Criminal Court, list specific acts that are illegal. When soldiers or commanders violate these rules, they can be held accountable. If an action is carried out in good faith and follows the laws of war, it's a legitimate act. But if it breaks the rules in a serious way, it becomes a war crime. Countries have a duty to investigate allegations of war crimes and bring those responsible to justice. This is where individual accountability in conflict becomes vital. It means that even if a soldier or commander thought they were acting within their orders, they can still be held responsible if their actions violate international law. So, distinguishing between legitimate acts of war and war crimes depends on whether the conduct respects the core principles of distinction, proportionality, and necessity. Following these rules helps protect civilians and keeps warfare within legal bounds. When violations happen, accountability ensures justice and prevents future abuses.